What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel where you don't have to be a Gladiator Beast fan, but it sure does help if you are. Today, I am bringing you what I have been working on with my Gladiator Beast deck since Nats, and it is a build I kind of spoke about a little bit. Similar to something I wanted to take to Nats, but I had absolutely no way to practice it. I had no testing with it, and it is not too different, but there is a card that is significantly different, and I am undecided of how I want to play the build, so I am staying at 40. And let's just go ahead and hop right in to the build because you'll see it. It is a Stratos build and it is a little bit more fun. So we're always starting with the Triple Test Tiger. Basically, Metamorphosis for Gladiator Beast, probably the best card in the deck. I don't think I would ever personally play Gladiator Beast without Test Tiger. This card does everything. For the players who don't know what Test Tiger does, is you return a Gladiator Beast from your field to your deck. You tribute it, target a Gladiator Beast, return to your deck, and then you summon a Gladiator Beast, can even be the same name, and it's as if that Gladiator Beast was summoned by a Gladiator Beast. Play 2 Ready Area. I have seen some people cut it. The deck that have, not cut it, but put it down to 1. The deck that topped the US Nats only played 1 copy, and I just think that is wrong. I think Ready Area does way too much for you. Maybe, perhaps, if Black Wings really takes off, but to be honest, even if it does, like Ready Area still hits a pretty significant amount of cards. Keeps them off Caius, takes away your Sirocco's, your Vayus, all of your Blizzard targets. Is it a little weak at 1200? Yeah, I guess, but it really helps a lot of matchups. So I personally would never drop it. I do like this in my, what do I think? I'm at 13 Gladiator Beast names. I really do appreciate it. 2 Liquori. Pretty standard. I don't think you can ever drop to 1. You could try it. I wouldn't. You can if you want to try it. 2's good. Sometimes I have even thought of going up to 3. If there was a world where I played without Test Tiger, I probably would play 3 Liquori. That 16 or that 1800 rather is pretty important for tying a lot of stuff, but also just beating over the occasional Greffer, for example. So I do like Liquori. Do I like more than 2 Liquori? And that's tough to say. Possibly the best Gladiator Beast, if not tied with Ready Area for the best Gladiator Beast, is a Questie. The only unfortunate thing about a Questie is there's no way to immediately turn it on outside of like Respite turn 1. So sometimes you have to make some pretty subpar or awkward tags if you don't have this live. And by that I mean a lot of times I go into like Gyzaurus, I'll pop 2 or something, swing directly, and maybe it's like turn 1, turn 2, and they don't have a monster in the grave, whatever it might be. Well, one of my tags is going to be Liquori, and then my other tag is awkwardly another Liquori, which you don't want to do because Brain Control beats you, but I'll go like awkwardly into, I guess, Samnite, who's not the best target, but it's not a negative effect, I guess. But I do run the 1 Samnite for the Rescue Cat and the 1 Darius. Now, this build is a little bit different, so once we go through and see it, you'll see what I'm running. And some people will say, hey, maybe you should be on more copies of Darius. And I just can't personally bring myself to do it. I don't really like Darius. It feels like I'm purposely just handicapping myself. Trust me, I understand all the applications, all the strange rulings, but I think Darius is just one of the worst ones to see in your hand. And I don't know, maybe it's just a personal distrust and dislike of Darius. I do run the Murmillo. Sometimes I want it to be more than 1 Murmillo, but you can't do it. The 1 Stratos, the 1 Secutor. I think if you're going to be on Cat, you should probably just be on Secutor. I draw this card a significant amount, and maybe it's just because I think about it way too much that I notice it when I draw, but I definitely seem to draw this significantly more than any of the other GBs. That's okay, I guess, to an extent, because you can still fuse with it, you can Test Tiger it, but wow, is it painful to see that early. The 1 Gores. Gores has proven time and time again to just be too good. At this point, if you don't respect Gores in GB, you are purposely handicapping yourself, to be honest. The 1 of Rescue Cat. I am still on 1 Prisma because Prisma is crucial not only to the Test Tiger, but to the card that I've actually added, which maybe this could be 2. Honestly, this could be 3 Prisma. This will take a lot of testing to get this card and get the numbers exactly where I want them to be. But Prisma is a card in this build that could go to 3. But what I am running says 2nd Prisma is I am on a Stratos build. Now this is interesting, something that we haven't seen a whole lot of and something that I personally haven't tried much in Edison. The reason I'm on Stratos, obviously Stratos, and I do run the Rhoda to go with it, but the Stratos is a copy of Prisma, essentially. 1800, undeniably great in Edison, does a lot of stuff, runs into Raikou, does a lot of cool things for the deck. But what it really does is it buys you an extra turn. And what I mean by that is your percentages of getting one of your test tigers in your first 6 is like, I don't know, somewhere between 35 and 45%. And obviously it gets better as the game progresses. At any point, if you get Stratos into your hand and then you summon the Stratos and you get the search, what Stratos does as a body on board is it puts this into your hand. Well, now let's say your 36 cards goes down, or 34 left in deck. You search this, goes down to 33 in deck. So now you're at 32. Well, every single turn after that, your test tiger search probability goes up immensely. So it kind of buys you, not only does it give you that +1 and a nice body, it gives you that extra percentage chance of hitting the test tiger, because obviously it lowered the deck by 1 count. But now you have additional turns because you have Stratos on board. It's a body on board. It gives you an additional turn, basically, to try to draw into Prisma combos. And that's why I'm saying maybe in this build, Prisma could realistically be a 3 of. I'd have to adjust the numbers quite a bit. And then probably at that point, I'd want to put Darius up to 2. Maybe I would end up putting Rediari down to 1 copy to work with what I'm working with. But it'll become more clear as we go into the spell lineup. So those are the monsters, rather. Going into the spells, Obligatory 3 Book Command. I think this card just gets better and better as Edison goes on. I can see why some decks have just opted to cut it entirely, but I see a lot of players are down to 1 copy of it at least. I think even in the worst decks, like 1 copy of Book of Moon is probably pretty good, just for all the utility it has of stopping Synchro, stopping Blackwings, making sure your weak monsters get over strong monsters, whatever it might be. Obviously, it's a little bit better for those Gladiator Beast tags, but you know, it is what it is. I do run the Rhoda to go with those. Rhoda additionally allows me to add things such as DD Assailant into my side deck and see them a little bit more often, because it is an additional copy. So I think as long as I'm on multiple Prisma or like a Prisma Stratos build, I will be using this. Heavy Storm. What's there to say about Heavy Storm? I think we're probably going to enter an era where people are going to be playing back to like 2 oppressions in the main deck if they can run it. Heavy Storm hitting oppression, obviously amazing. Heavy Storm hitting Black Whirlwind, obviously amazing. Kind of required almost at this point. I didn't play it in Indy, and I didn't miss it. I did play it at Nats, and it did get me, at bare minimum, like even card advantage. So I was never disappointed with Heavy Storm, and it made my follow-up plays good. The one of MST, that obviously hits stuff. And here's something that I also have just not been a fan of. And not to say that I've not been a fan of, I haven't given it a fair chance. Cold Wave. Theoretically, this card lets you make all of your plays uninhibited, right? But it also kind of lets your opponent make their plays uninhibited. So in a world where you go into like Gyzaris and blow something up because you have this and then tag out to whatever, well, now they have their Greffer play into Brio, into Plague Spreader, into whatever it is, right? Greffer into sending a Vayu and Sorako, so now they can synchro with the Vayu, and you can't stop it, or drop that, or drop JD, or, you know, any number of things, right? Dropping Caius, and you can't really do anything. That's very theoretical. I've never, in actuality, tested Cold Wave, so maybe Cold Wave is this insane Yu-Gi-Oh card that I've just been missing for a couple of years. Yeah, who knows? And then here is the tech card that I am debating between right now. I'm only on 1 copy, but this is the card that I personally will be taking and using a lot in Gladiator Beast. And the reason I think maybe we could be on 3 Prisma going forward is the Shallow Grave. So let me bring this card up here, and if you've never seen it, each player takes 1 monster from his or her respective graveyard and special summons that monster on the field in face down defense position. So essentially, this is a 4th, 5th, and possibly even 6th copy of Test Tiger. In a world where you just go Prisma, Effect, send Bestie, Shallow Grave, Bestie comes back, cannot be bottomless, they get a monster, and you just go into Gyzaris, and you destroy their monster, regardless. So, you know, maybe it hurts if they have Goblin Zombie, Sangan, potentially Dupe Frog, or maybe in a weird world you turn on their Icarus attack rate, who knows, anything could happen. But this is something that I was looking at a lot of historical decks, specifically the 2008 Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship, where the player who got third place, I think it was, maybe fourth, was on 3 of these because Test Tiger was a TCG exclusive, so they didn't have access to it. So what he did was he played triple Prisma, triple Shallow Grave. And that is something that I really do want to use. You know, Gladiator Beasts do have to adapt some way, some shape, some form, somehow. I think something like Shallow Grave to go with any amount of Prisma and then any amount of triple Test Tiger, while also allowing your Bestiari to be protected from everything, right? Because it goes face down, no bottomless, no prisons, no whatever it is. I think that this card could secretly be one of the best cards in Gladiator Beasts going forward. Alternatively, what this card does, and I've seen it happen a few times, both players have empty fields. I Shallow Grave. I bring back a Questie in defense. They bring back anything. I summon a Questie. They now have a monster for me to attack. So let's say in a world where they have like Dark Arm Dragon or Judgment Dragon, right? And I'm just like, oh, I have no way of beating over this monster. Well, great. I can Shallow Grave. They are forced to bring a monster back. It's not optional. They bring something back. I summon Gladiator Beast. I can now have a target that I can attack. I brought my Gladiator Beast back as well. That's face down. I can tag out 4 Bestiari, pop one of their back rows, fuse, or go straight into Murmillo to pop their card. And now I have 2 Gladiator Beasts on board, right? So this is a card that has a tremendous amount of utility, could be a little dangerous in a format that seems to be a little less, but could potentially be plagued by like Hamster, Raikou, Kai's type stuff. Or it could just be like, wow, this card is game breaking because regardless of what they brought back, if it is a flip effect, I just had Bestiari and a Gladiator Beast or whatever, and I fused them off. And now I'm going huge plus because I simply activated a Shallow Grave, and whatever card they brought back didn't matter anyways. So that is something that I'm trying out, and I highly suggest everyone tries out. Again, my build is by no means solidified. My build is by no means perfect. I actually only own, I own 3 copies of Shallow Grave in real life. Only this one is near mint first ed. The other ones are basically chewed on. So I haven't really given them a chance, and I just haven't been on DB, and I don't really have a lot of plans to get on DB. But I could see myself, honestly, going to 3 copies of this. And if I did, I probably would want to go back into a Sangan build. Just because I can go Prisma, Soch Sandwich, or Reaper of the Nightmare, send the monsters and then just Shallow Grave, bring them back is an interesting combo. And then I'm on, I think, just a regular trap ride. I'm still on 40. Again, I find it very tough to bring myself to go above 40 cards in any world. I just struggle. 2 of those, 2 Trap Stun. Again, Trap Stun, stellar Yu-Gi-Oh card. Stellar card. If you've not tried Trap Stun, try Trap Stun. This card has been beyond amazing, to say the least. 2 Chariots. Sometimes I want to bump this up to 3, to be honest with you. I'll stay at 2. I don't know if there's a real reason to go up to 3, but like sometimes it's a really good card. 1 Dust Tornado combos really well with basically everything. This could be the 3rd Trap Stun. It could be the 3rd Deep Prison, right? It could be the 3rd a lot of stuff, but I chose Dust Tornado because, again, like I said, it just combos well with all these other cards. It gives me a lot of initiative to, Dust Tornado, a Black Whirlwind, and then set Trap Stun, or set a Solemn Judgment off of it, right? Anything can happen. I do run the 1 Compulse. This is something that I do actually want to move back up to 2, but I don't know if I really have the room. It is something that I do want to move up. Call. Something I've been debating dropping. Maybe could be more droppable. If I am on multiple copies of Shallow Grave, it becomes a little bit less reliable of a card. Potentially, right? I don't really know. But something that it weakens your early game. It makes your good plays better, but it makes your bad plays and bad hands a lot worse. But also reusing the Rescue Cat, Test Tigers, going Prisma, sending Bestiari into this is a real thing. Reviving Gyzaris is a real play, right? There's a lot of stuff that this is like good with, so it's tough for me to say I want to cut it. And then 1 Mirror Force and 1 Trap Dust Shoot. And that is everything. I don't have a side built for this deck at the time. Like I said, because I am on a roto build, that does allow me to change up the side a little bit in terms of playing something like DD Assailant is definitely going to be in the side moving forward, at least 1 copy, just to help with some of those pesky Blackwing decks. DD Assailant's pretty solid with that. But that is the full deck list. I gave it out because I don't have any big events coming up, so I don't have anything to hide. But again, if you guys are trying anything new, try the Shallow Grave. I think this card has a tremendous amount of good things going for it, to be honest with you. I have practiced with enough, and I have talked with people who have practiced with it enough to say, hey, this card has some merit. So thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you later. Bye.